Going on, guys? Winter Wolf here. Just doing an extra spot this week on Ahsoka because last week's episode I couldn't put it away after King Z and I went over it, and I had to go back and kind of get some of the thoughts out on paper and then make a little video here today just about, was that really Anakin that we saw in episode 5? Just let me first say, thanks for everybody that checked out the video. It did really well for our channel. A lot of interaction. I appreciate it. And it come down right the middle, actually, like a 50-50 split on the likes and the dislikes, which is really cool because it means some people are gravitating towards the opinion and some people aren't. And that's more or less what we kind of want to see. We're not interested in doing echo chambers here, and I appreciate all you guys that, drop some comments in there. I'll address those as I can get to them today for sure. So I've seen a lot of people out there trying to sort out whether or not, Ahsoka really did see Anakin in that episode. For me, if that was really him, I'm confused, right? When we think about it, the only place we can really be with this is we're not sure what it was. We know Star Wars has Force Ghosts. We know Star Wars has the world between worlds. We know Star Wars has hallucinations brought to you by Kylo Ren and, Harrison Ford in Rise of Palpatine. But, if this was really Anakin, how did Ahsoka enter the world between worlds? And we've only ever really seen people enter it through Jedi temples or Sith temples. So we're left to believe that the hero and title character, through no effort of her own, just tripped, fell, avoided multiple concussions and lacerations, avoided drowning, and then ended up exactly where she needed to be to end up in the world between worlds. I mean, okay, if that's what you're into. And then if it was Anakin, why? Why shouldn't he have just appeared as a Force Ghost to Ahsoka by the star map or any other time or any other place that he needed to make himself known? If it really was him, then I really don't get all the hype behind the return again. The only upside, I suppose, is for fans who just wanted to see live action Ahsoka meet live action Anakin. And to that I also say, as much as you guys might have enjoyed it, just for the rest of us and for people that might be even more casual, so what? He didn't teach her anything. The duel was okay, and Hayden Christensen looked pretty good wielding the lightsaber still. In fact, I'd say his effort, with the choreography was stronger than Rosario Dawson's. But the duel was pointless. The emotional thrust that was Ahsoka needing to choose to live over dying is founded in what? Were we ever under the impression that she didn't want to live? That she was some cynical, fatalistic a-hole with a death wish? No. She got bested in a lightsaber by Baylan Skoll and fell off a mountain and into the ocean, and somehow into the world between worlds. But I don't know, the setup for that just, it seemed kind of pointless. And then when she actually gets in there, Anakin doesn't really give her any additional instruction into regarding how better to reach Sabine or some special insight into how to unlock Force memory echo. So she could use the broken star map, or even how to unlock Force talk to space whales so she could hitch a ride later. Now, I'm not going to slap a Mary Sue label on her the same way I would Rey for Force Heal and the other 900 abilities that Space Jesus had in, the sequel trilogy. Because at the very least, we know Ahsoka had years of training and been put through her paces, and, is just an older, more experienced adult by the time this show happens. Anakin also didn't give her any insight into Thrawn, or that the Emperor was alive on, Exegol somewhere out in the void of the Force, waiting to get to Exegol by the sequel trilogy. So I'm not sure that it was, Anakin actually being Anakin or a Force Ghost. There's some real version of him. I'm not sure that that's what she saw there, because I feel like they if it was, they squandered a whole lot of time and didn't really give her anything meaningful. I don't understand if this was supposed to be like another version of It's a Wonderful Life, and he was trying to show her elements from her past that were going to inform her future, or show her that if she hadn't been there because she gave up, things would have been worse. I don't know. It was cool seeing Clone Wars imagery and seeing Hayden Christensen done up in that way, but those flashbacks don't really lend itself that it was actually him imparting any kind of knowledge, just in my opinion. The other thing I've seen people say, and I was thinking this myself for a while just because of the idiocy of the Kylo Ren Han Solo scene in Rise of Skywalker, that it was all in Ahsoka's head. And I was thinking that was a possibility. They've done that route before, and we basically had Kylo Ren forgiving himself for the murder of his father. Super touching moment, accepting no responsibility for bloody patricide, but that's what sequel trilogy writers are into. But if it was all in Ahsoka's head, how did Jason Syndulla hear the saber battle in progress and then redirect his mother's aerial search for Ahsoka in the water? unless he also had unlocked a skill point and unlocked Force Clairvoyance and was able to somehow hear Ahsoka's subconscious thoughts. But Jason being able to hear the battle almost sort of indicates that the particular avenue or mechanism of his Force sensitivity lends itself to being able to hear other echoes in the Force the same way Ahsoka ended up doing with the star map later, and that their battle was actually in the world between worlds. But honestly, I'm not even sure I like that. I don't think that lends itself to anything effective or anything interesting going forward, because everything they did with their time in flashback wasn't enough to either justify Anakin being a Force ghost or a hallucination or actually the corporeal version of him stuck there. I saw somebody say that it was actually the physical embodiment of Anakin Skywalker. I'm like, no, they cremated him. He's gone. Like, you can go back and watch that. As depressing as I guess that would be. But the final fan theory that I heard, that this one kind of tripped me out, because this is legions and legions and legions of people that are going to end up liking that video that those guys did. And the theory itself is probably going to make its rounds on Reddit and other places. But they were suggesting that Anakin ascended from death and became a Mortis god. I haven't seen enough Clone Wars to be able to argue that definitively either which way, but my understanding is there were only 3. They were a family. I'm not sure what Anakin could have done to change that, but really, guys, unless you need one reference and source somewhere to be able to, it's just mental gymnastics at a gold medal level. So we can't just write the story for them. That's something I'm not willing to do here. But the plot point of having Anakin return to assist his old apprentice could have been a compelling concept to see unfold. Instead of seeing, yet again, an Anakin before and yet another lightsaber duel for the ages, why not have him actually teach Ahsoka something useful? The setup there was right in front of him. Beneath the Star Map Shrine were the remnants of an old Jedi temple. Anakin could have maybe reached out via Force voicemail, because that's a power now, I guess. I don't know. And he could have showed her the way in, have the big reveal moment, hello, Snips. And then she says, oh, Master. And they kind of fall back into old roles and mannerisms. Could have been all emotional and sentimental, and everybody could have gotten all their bang for the buck that they wanted. We could have legitimate reaction, legitimate emotion for Rosario Dawson and Hayden Christensen in the playoff. They're both talented actors. They could have used more than they were given to work with. Then say Anakin guides her through a pair of trials if they needed both, one for reconciling her personal relationship with Sabine, the master apprentice, the friendship, whatever she needed to fix to be able to get through to her, to bring her up to her potential, and then one for being able to use unlockable skill points to get in touch with space whales, if they were going to go the hitch the space whale route later. But those could have been meaningful, powerful scenes as they go over some of the things that she needs to get over with. And then woven into that, you could give Hayden Christensen some script to work with for a change. Instead of just showing up to be the guy that, becomes Darth Vader, he could have apologized for his decisions for letting her down a little bit. He could talk about the regrets he had living his last years as Vader, and a gratitude for, having Luke's unwavering belief in him that he could return back to the light. He could have mentioned that he knew that Ahsoka had seen Luke and had trained with him, and that he knew something about Baby Yoda if they were going to do a tie-in for that, because they're absolutely not decanonizing sequel trilogy. They could have mentioned that. He could have mentioned Leia, and how he was proud of Leia working her way through the Senate and becoming a general and all that good stuff. And then when they wrap up a final training sequence, right as they're about to part ways, he could have encouraged her with, just some parting wisdom for her, about her path, about something she needed for her own personal growth, and then called her Snips one last time before fading away, leaving her in the temple, and avoiding the idiotic water rescue scene that they chose to go with. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to get that out there, just kind of my own opinion on that. I'm not so sure that they'll try to play it off that it was really him in the world between worlds, but I don't buy it. There's not enough concrete evidence there for that to be considered the case. Like, she didn't enter or exit the way people typically do. He didn't teach her anything useful, which I feel like Anakin would have. I don't think he would have wasted time revisiting things, but it all comes down to semantics, I guess, at that point. But the Mortis God thing I thought was just as left field as you could get. Just wanted to, comment on that really quick. But I don't know, guys. Tomorrow's Tuesday. We're going to do Ahsoka episode 6. We're going to try and record something in tandem tomorrow that hopefully we can have up for Wednesday, so you guys can check out our review there. Feel free to check out the rest of our reviews on Ahsoka, because we have differing of opinions on most of these episodes so far. King Z and I do. So the playlist is there for you guys to check that out. And until next time, we'll see you guys in the next.